What's going on, guys? This is going to be the Hansen Health blueprint for sustainable weight loss that we've been using for 200 plus moms to lose 20 to 70 pounds and keep it off in a sustainable way where it's more of a lifestyle in a way that's not going to be dragging your feet or restricting your favorite foods, be able to feel full and satisfied, be able to enjoy yourself at the same time, and a lot of other holistic approaches that we'll be talking about as well. But yeah, let's dive right into it. So let me just pull up my slide deck. Alrighty. So you should be seeing this on your guys' ends in just a sec. All right. So the Hansen Health Blueprint to Sustainable Weight Loss. So these are the methods that we have helped 200 plus moms to lose 20 to 70 pounds and keep it off. And if you're ready to finally stop the vicious cycle of losing weight and gaining the weight back, and you're wanting to learn how to lose the weight and keep it off, then you're in the right place. So please comment below with recording. If you're watching this as a recording, I'd also love to hear where you guys are from. We have a lot of people from the US and different areas of Canada. I'd love to hear where you guys are from. I'm here from Whitehorse, where it's just freaking snowy and a winter wonderland outside, and I've had to shovel my driveway already 7 times. We're not even halfway through November. Hopefully that's not the case for you. And you see, we've worked with hundreds of moms just like you. And if you're like the clients that I've helped, you've been trying again and again, struggling to lose the weight and keep it off, trying to quick fix diets and restrictive programs that give you a quick result, but you gained it all back. Overwhelmed with all the information online where you don't know where to even begin with all the gurus, marketing, and fad diets, and you've achieved weight loss, but haven't been able to maintain it or continue losing the weight afterwards. And this goes much, much deeper. It's deeper than just keeping the weight off or just knowing how to lose the weight. You know, if you don't fix the problem now, you might be stuck in a body you hate for the rest of your life, or even worse, gain more weight, can't keep up with your kids, and can't do basic activities that you like to do. How's it going to affect your mental health, and how are you going to show up for everybody every single day? Like, our physical health and our mental health are directly interconnected, especially when it comes to, like, if you struggle with depression or anxiety, you're more susceptible to those things. When you don't take care of yourself, it's going to make those things worse. I know I've been personally in that position where I'm just overextending myself, working all the time, focusing on everybody else. Wait, what the heck happened to my face? Whoops. There we go. My face disappeared for a second. But yeah, I've struggled with depression a ton in my life. And when I started prioritizing myself and my health and my energy and the frequency and the energy I was giving out to everybody, it made a massive difference on just my level of focus and productivity, my motivation, how I felt about myself, how I treated other people, like the level of like just gumption and grit that I had when it came to my business and how I was showing up for my clients and for my family. What are the potential health risks and future costs of you not getting this area down? Like, is that a matter of just potentially having less mobility? Like, I've had some clients where like they have like excruciating back pain and they can't function properly, and they literally can't do basic human things. They don't go outside to like go enjoy hikes or go out for walks like they used to love to do, or they can't like go out and like spend time with their kids because they just feel too much pain just getting up and walking around. Or maybe it's potentially like you're more susceptible to like heart issues in your family or getting cancer, like when you don't have enough muscle mass and you're not taking care of your health, like disease and like having these other things, you're going to be a lot more susceptible to them. So keeping these different things in mind, and like what I don't want for you, I don't want you to completely fall off where you give up and you just go further backwards. You only wear baggy clothes and avoid getting pictures taken of you where you're in none of the family pictures. You have no energy to do anything for the things that you love to do, and you can't even show up strong for your kids where they start to even take on your bad habits, and you see this generational curse that just continues to go on throughout your family. You don't want to go out anymore because you're unhappy with your body. And that's why the Hansen Health Weight Loss Blueprint is so effective. Hi, I'm Alex Hansen. I've been training myself for 8 years and helping over 450 plus people, almost 500 people, with their health and fitness in the last 4.5 years. And that time, I've helped 20 people lose 50 plus pounds, over 100 people lose 30 plus pounds, and 200 people lose 20 plus pounds and keep it off. I've also been certified through CamFit Pro as a personal training specialist. I'm a nutrition expert, as well as work directly with high level fitness coaches and IFBB pro bodybuilders to grow and learn the science behind weight loss and health. I've also personally lost 55 pounds and have competed in a bodybuilding show, getting to lower than 5% body fat, getting second in my first competition, one place away from getting my pro card. We're going after it next time, baby. We getting it next year. That's it's gonna happen. I'm putting it out there. I'm manifesting it. And I've helped hundreds of moms just like you reclaim their strength and vitality, and I'm gonna help you do the exact same things for you. I'm going to share with you the sustainable weight loss and lifestyle secrets our clients and myself have used. And at the end, I promise I won't just throw all this information at you and just leave you to do it yourself. For those of you with questions or who maybe want some additional support, I'll share with you how we at Hansen Health can help you execute and creating a permanent lifestyle change around your weight loss, your health, and your fitness. So let's get into it. I want to show you the Hansen Health blueprint to sustainable weight loss. Let's freaking go. So this methodology is designed specifically to show you how to lose weight in a sustainable way and keep the weight off even during life's ups and downs. So what's required for weight loss? You need to be in a calorie deficit. Plain and simple. It's all about energy balance, calories in versus calories out, energy in versus energy out. As long as you're burning more calories than you are consuming, you're going to lose body fat. There are absolutely other factors that are going to make a difference in slowing down the weight loss. Like you can be in a caloric deficit, but it's going to be very, very slow. If your hormones are out of whack, your metabolism is depleted, you're having like some medical conditions. Like we're going to dive into some of that stuff for sure during the rest of this presentation to make sure we're able to regulate those things. And the trick is just making it sustainable as well too, like making sure you're not depleting your metabolism, you're not getting muscle atrophy and just binging and just like being super ravenous and gaining all the weight back afterwards. And also, like what I also hate to see is like when you follow these restrictive diets, you lose a bunch of weight, and because you've been in such a restricted amount of calories, you continue following that same diet, hoping it's going to just continue working. But because your metabolism, which we call metabolic adaptation, it depletes itself, and you're losing little to no weight, where it's just not even really doing anything. You actually have to do a reverse diet and have more food and go back almost to maintenance calories to a point where you're actually refueled, and then you can go back into a calorie deficit. Some of you might be experiencing that right now, where you've been in a deficit for a while. Maybe you're down 20 pounds, 30 pounds, but nothing's moving. You've even like decreased your calories more and you're just super hungry every single day. Like you're maybe losing like maybe a quarter of a pound per week. Maybe you're losing like half a pound a month or something like that. But like it's not really moving. It's kind of just stuck between a couple of pounds. That might be an indication that like you just don't have enough muscle mass. You need to make sure that you're refueling your metabolism and going into a reverse diet afterwards to make sure you're refueling your metabolism because you need to fuel your metabolism. And we're going to go into some lasting nutrition strategies. So firstly, make sure you are drinking water and sleeping. Because the thing is, if you're not drinking water, you're not sleeping enough, you need to get those two areas down first. Because if you're not getting enough sleep, that's going to mess with two specific hormones, your ghrelin and your leptin. So ghrelin is the hormone that's going to tell you that you're hungry. Leptin is the hormone that tells you that you're satisfied. So when you're still ravenous and you want to keep eating after you have dinner, like like leptin would be the hormone that's going to indicate and signal to your brain that you're satisfied. When you don't get enough sleep, your ghrelin increases, so you're hungrier, and your leptin decreases. So you're actually never really satisfied. So not only are you just super hungry all the time, you're never satisfied. So you're just eating more and more and more food, and then it's just making it even more difficult to stay on track with your goals. So just getting enough sleep, that's also going to help you retain and build more muscle mass, which is going to help with your metabolism. You're going to burn more calories just by existing as a human being. You're awake for less hours, so the likelihood you're just going to eat less food. And also your hormones are going to be regulated as well, which is going to be a huge, huge difference maker. And just your energy levels to go and like go for walks and get activity and like burn more calories. Because if you're just drained and have no energy, how do you expect to have the motivation to want to go and do those things? Like that's a super important piece. Same with drinking enough water. If you're not hydrated, you're not drinking enough water. A lot of the time, we're not hungry, we're just thirsty. So like just making sure you're drinking enough water. I would recommend having like some electrolytes, maybe having some pink Himalayan salt with some water first thing in the morning, or just having like a supplement that has electrolytes. Like you can get some amino acids or BCAAs with electrolytes. That's the only reason I would ever buy BCAAs. Otherwise, you're just buying expensive Kool-Aid at that point, where if you're just getting just BCAAs, if you're having enough protein every single day, that's just going to be irrelevant. Like it's not actually going to do anything because The reason you have protein is to get all your essential amino acids. And if you're having enough protein, you don't need to have BCAAs. And like BCAAs typically don't have most of the essential amino acids, so it's just like they're not super helpful. But that's definitely not what we're covering today. So just making sure you're getting some electrolytes, drinking enough water, 3 to 4 liters every single day, and that does not count the water that you have when you're working out because you're replenishing the water that you're utilizing to perform that workout and sweating. So just keeping that in mind. I would recommend having like 1 to 2, maybe 1 to 3 glasses, or even like having like a liter of water in your first hour of waking up, because like that's going to help hydrate you. It's going to help with your energy levels. It actually boosts your metabolism up to about 25% for the rest of the day, so you actually burn more calories. And because you're drinking more water, you're going to be more full, but with less calories. So it's actually going to make it like because water doesn't have calories, obviously, but that's going to make it a lot easier to stick to a calorie deficit if you're hydrated and you're drinking enough water. So water, sleep, get those 2 areas down. If you don't have those 2 areas down, get that down first. If you're not getting enough sleep, like turn your screens off 30 minutes before bed. Make sure you're stopping drinking caffeine at 3 p.m. Make sure you're having magnesium and you're having vitamin D, because if you're deficient in both of those, it's going to directly affect sleep quality. Like magnesium biglycinate would be my go-to. And then having like, I typically have 3 to 4 thousand IU of vitamin D every single day. And then making sure, I would say working out first thing in the morning. I've had clients where they struggle with working out and they just have a bunch of stuff up here, like they're just overthinking and overanalyzing everything. Whereas if you actually get a workout done earlier in the day, it doesn't necessarily need to be the morning, but just earlier in the day, your body's going to be nice and exhausted and primed and ready to go to sleep. And if you turn your screens off like 30 minutes before bed and you go and like have a hot bath, do some yoga, do some journaling or some meditation to like just ground yourself and get yourself primed and ready to go to sleep, you're going to get to sleep a lot easier and probably get better quality of sleep as well. So keeping those things in mind, those are going to be the fundamental basic pieces. Now we're going to dive into the other stuff. Track your food. So creating awareness, if you ever want to intuitively eat in the future, you need to track your food for a while. Like where you understand what foods have protein, carbs, fats, how many calories that they have. I had a client that was following restrictive diets and could not lose weight for the life of her. And it was not even because she wasn't having she was it wasn't that because she wasn't in a calorie deficit and she was eating too little calories or something like that. It was because she was having foods that she didn't realize had a ton of calories, like garlic bread has a ton of like butter or oil added to it, which just adds way too many calories. She just stopped having garlic bread and started having like less portions of what she was already having and started miraculously just losing weight, because it's all about calories in versus calories out. You can eat McDonald's and lose weight. You can eat healthy food and lose weight. If you're trying to fix deficiencies and like you're focusing on your energy levels and your cognitive function, like your gut health, all those things, definitely super important things. Absolutely. But if you want to lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit. So like tracking your food is going to help create that awareness. So in down the line, if you ever want to maintain or just be where you're at and like you get to like a weight loss goal that you're really excited about, that you feel really good at, if you've been tracking long enough, you'll be able to intuitively know what to eat for the most part, as long as you've been tracking for a while. Like I typically say 1 to 3 years, depending on like how consistent and diligent you are about tracking your food. Like tracking your food will make such a massive difference. Even if you don't weigh your food or you're not hitting a specific protein target and you just track your food for the next 1 or 2 weeks and you're just tracking what you're putting into your mouth, like even creamer with your coffee, even having like that Timbit at work and having a bite out of your kid's sandwich and just tracking it to the best of your ability, you're going to look at it and put way more focus and energy into it, where you're going to be like, man, I did not realize peanut butter had so many calories. I've been having 1,000 more calories than my like the app says that I should be having. And like don't listen to the app. The app is going to give you like a general amount, but it doesn't mean that like the accurate amount. MyFitnessPal usually just gives you 1,200 calories, which is typically in a lot of cases too strict of a deficit where it's going to deplete your metabolism. You might want to go to like a calorie calculator online and just plug that stuff in there. If you just look up a calorie calculator, it'll just pop up. Or if you just comment calculator in the comments, I can shoot one over to you so you can figure out what your calories are supposed to be on a day-to-day basis. And then you can plug that into the app. And I'd use MyFitnessPal or I'd use Eat This Much. And make sure that you're weighing, like once you're getting into the tracking of your food more consistently, like weigh your food. Like don't use cups, don't use tablespoons, don't use teaspoons. Like make sure you're actually weighing it to the gram. Because you can also like you can have a tablespoon of peanut butter versus like a weighed out tablespoon of peanut butter, and they can be hundreds of calories of difference. And to be on a healthy calorie deficit where you're not depleting your metabolism and you're not losing muscle in the process, you're eating about 3 to 500 calories below maintenance. So maintenance, that's where you're not gaining weight, you're not losing weight. You need to be eating 300 to 500 calories below that to be losing about 1 to 2 pounds of body fat per week. And if you're just not weighing your food, that can easily incrementally add up throughout the day, where you just have hundreds of calories of difference, or you actually start to gain weight, or you just plateau. So making sure you're weighing your food is very, 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 very important. And if you don't want to track, follow these tips. So prioritize protein every single meal. Why? Protein keeps you fuller for longer, helps you maintain muscle mass during a weight loss journey, which is going to help with your metabolism. And how? So adding lean meats, eggs, fish, Greek yogurt, plant-based options like tofu or lentils or seitan or like Beyond Meat products if you're vegetarian or vegan, and fill half your plate with vegetables. They're low in calories, high in fiber, which is going to be good for your gut health and your microbiome because your body like just absorbing nutrients is actually important for weight loss and just like your hormone regulation. But also, when you're having fiber, it's going to give you more energy and it's going to fill you up for longer, but have less calories. So start with meals like a salad or load up on like steamed or roasted vegetables. Fruit, you can also get like a lot of fiber with fruit as well. And stop when you're satisfied. Don't eat past that. Like when you feel satisfied, just don't eat past that. And before eating anything, I would say like have 25 to 30 grams of protein. Like if you're tracking your food a little bit, like and like this is for the people that are tracking their food, have 25 to 30 grams of protein, have fiber, like so having half a plate of veggies and having like a glass of water. Then I would wait like 15 to 20 minutes and then allow your body to process it, then see if you still want to have more food afterwards. So it takes a certain amount of time for your body to actually like your brain to send signals to your stomach to know that you're actually satisfied. And focus on high satiety foods, so like protein, fruits and veggies, oatmeal, potatoes, and most complex carbs. And if you don't want to track, again, follow these tips. So like use the hand portion guide. So on here, you're going to see a serving of protein is a palm size, a fist for vegetables, for carbs, 1 cupped hand, and for fats, a thumb. And stop eating when you're satisfied, not stuffed. So again, like learn to recognize hunger and fullness cues to help you eat the right amount and limit liquid calories. So beverages like soda, alcohol, sugary coffees, and calories without filling you up. So opt in for like water, unsweetened tea, black coffee, sparkling water, diet soda. Like there's people that have actually there's been studies that have been done. People that have diet soda actually lose more weight than people that drink water because it gives you the carbonation, which fills up your stomach, and also gives you that sweet tooth fix, so you're less likely to want to go and have snacks or have something sweet. And reduce ultra processed foods. So why? These are calorically dense, low in nutrients, and they're not going to satisfy you. That's why like you can go have like a very small meal from McDonald's that has a ton of calories and you're still hungry afterwards, but you had thousands of calories. Or you can go have like a super like whole foods, like minimally processed foods like fresh produce, lean meats, grains, potatoes, veggies, and like it's going to be half the calories of the McDonald's meal and you're going to be nice and full. So it's going to make it much easier to stay within a calorie deficit. And also your energy levels, your brain's going to function better, and like you're going to get more micronutrients, which is definitely important. And use smaller plates and bowls. Like use a smaller dish to help control portions without making you feel deprived. Because like the thing is like if you have a smaller plate that looks bigger, because like I know a lot of people's eyes are bigger than their stomach and they like fill up their giant plate versus having like small dishes where it looks like you're having a bigger portion than you actually are. And serve meals on smaller plates and avoid eating directly from the package. Like make sure you're putting it on a small dish and avoid eating out of boredom or stress. So like emotional eating can lead to consuming a lot more extra calories. So having like a diet soda, having like a coffee or something like that if it's still earlier in the day, or maybe just like also fasting. Like that's definitely something that I'm gonna dive into a little bit. But distracting yourself with like a walk, a hobby, a glass of water, or just like again having like a diet soda when tempted to eat without hunger. Or if you're eating out of boredom or stress, like make sure that they're protein. Like make sure you're having things that are high satiety, where like you're having veggies or you're having fruit or you're having like some beef jerky or something like that. So that way it's something that's going to be more beneficial for your goals and fill you up more, but have less calories. And also Greek yogurt with berries is also a great option. And establish regular meal times. So like there's two different ways that I go about this. So with establishing regular meal times, skipping meals can lead to overeating later, and stick to consistent meal patterns to regulate hunger and prevent impulsive snacking. So with some clients I have where it's like they almost eat every 3 hours and make sure they have 25 to 30 grams of protein with each of those meals that they have every 3 hours. Or what I personally do is I have about like 30 to 40 grams of protein first thing in the morning at like 10:30 a.m. after I get home from my workout. And then I'll just eat nothing until like 7 p.m. and I'll just fast from like 10:30, 11 a.m. all the way until like 7:30 p.m. And I just put like a hard line in the sand of like, I'm not going to eat from this time all the way until this time. And then I have way more calories to work with later in the day. And like during that time, from like 11 a.m. all the way until 7 p.m., I'm working, I'm like doing errands, I'm doing stuff that's distracting me and keeping me busy. Because a lot of the time we just eat out of convenience and when we're bored and we're like relaxing at home. So if you can almost like allocate your calories to later in the evening, because like there's a lot of myths out there. It's like, oh, if I eat in the evening, I'm gonna like gain more body fat. It's all calories in versus calories out. Like as long as you have a certain amount of calories during the day, it doesn't matter when you're eating it. It just depends on how you operate as a person. Because I have some people that'll do that fasting strategy and they just want to eat everything and they like can't control themselves as much. So then they'll go and like binge and not have a bunch of foods that they don't like they know they probably shouldn't be having. Or for some people, having that extra fasting period, it makes them feel like they can enjoy their food and have a little bit more snacks that have a little bit more calories later in the evening and feel more full and feel like they're having more food. And that's personally the way that I like to go about it. But you could kind of like test it and just see what makes it easier to stay within your calories or just have less food during the day. Alrighty. So look for alternatives. So look for lower calorie options that are similar and taste 90% as good. Like find whatever it is that you want, but with higher protein content, like protein ice cream, for example. I personally have an entire pint of protein ice cream every single day, and it's less than 300 calories for like 29 grams of protein. Like, and also if you follow this guy right here, the flexible dieting lifestyle on Instagram, he has almost anything you can think of, like burgers, pizza, ice cream, like chicken tenders that are way less calories but have a ton of protein. And like they'd be able to fill you up a lot and you'd be able to get that fix that you want. And it would taste really good and it would hit your protein at the same time. You just have to put a little bit extra work into it. And honestly, the protein ice cream, if you get like a Ninja Creamy, it takes like little to no time. Where like it takes me a couple of minutes to prep a couple of pints for the next couple of days, and it takes me like no time and it tastes really good. Or swap out milk for like protein milk. Swap out ice cream for a Ninja Creamy. Swap out gummies for Smart Sweets. Swap out like having chips with like a bunch of popcorn. You can have a whole bag of popcorn that's like 240 calories and just put some like sugar-free or like calorie-free seasonings on it with like white cheddar or like dill. Or like if you have like a light like water spray, you can actually put like different spices like paprika or garlic powder where it tastes really good. And you get a bunch of volume. You can have giant handfuls of popcorn. Like it feels like you're getting your fix. And it also has a ton of fiber as well too. So like that'd be like way better than chips. Or you can get Quest chips that are actually literally protein chips. If you actively look for alternatives, you're going to be able to find them. I'm also going to show you something real quick. So let's go over to ChatGPT. So let me just share my screen here. Alrighty. So you should be able to see this right here. So I was actually asking it a question just because I was going to share this with you guys. So what are a bunch of alternatives of high calorie, well-known, enjoyable foods, sauces and drinks and cooking sprays that people can use that are either low calorie and high protein? And it'll actually give me an entire list. So like for pasta alternatives, like in high calorie options, so like a regular pasta is 200 calories per cup cooked, or like zucchini noodles or spaghetti squash or shirataki noodles are 5 to 20 calories per serving. Like look how much of a difference that is, and you can still enjoy your pasta. Or like instead of white or whole wheat bread, you go for like low calorie bread, which is 45 calories per slice, or like sandwich thins or lettuce wraps, and it's going to be way less calories and you can still enjoy it. So instead of like traditional pizza, cauliflower crust, or like tortilla pizzas, or portobello mushroom bases. And like you can go on that flexible dieting lifestyle guy that I showed you, and he'll actually show you how to make a lot of these. Or like instead of white rice, cauliflower rice, which is going to have significantly less. Instead of ice cream, Halo Top, or protein ice creams, like I was mentioning chips. So popcorn, Quest protein chips. Funny thing is, I didn't even look at this and I knew that. And like, yeah, so like if you look for alternatives, you're gonna find them. Instead of ketchup, sugar-free ketchup. Instead of full-fat mayo, light mayo. And I just asked it this one simple question where it gives me like a sugar-free creamer instead of regular creamer, which is going to have significantly less calories. Or instead of soda, diet soda. Instead of regular milk, unsweetened almond milk or like Fairlife skim milk, which are both the things that I make with my Ninja Creamy and my protein ice cream. Like if you look at how many that it gave me, and you just plug in whatever food that you want, and it'll give you an alternative that's going to have less calories and more protein. You can also ask it any kind of question where like you can also put in like your weight, your height, and like all that kind of stuff, and it'll tell you generally what your calories and your protein intake should be to lose weight in a healthy way. Like let's just say that you're a 5'6" woman at 200, or I'm a 5'6", 210, 210-pound woman that has a sedentary job and goes and has about 5K steps a day. I work out for 20 minutes, 3 times a week, doing HIIT classes or something like that. And I want to lose weight in a sustainable way. How many calories and protein should I eat per day to lose weight sustainably? Alrighty, so it's going to plug this in. To lose weight sustainably, it's essential to create a calorie deficit while eating enough protein to maintain muscle mass and satiety. So estimate your calorie needs. So calculate your metabolic or your BMR, your basal metabolic rates, and it'll actually do the whole calculation for you. So it looks like your target calories, like if you're a 210-pound woman, 1850 to about 2000 calories per day, and this will be aiming for about 1 to 2 pounds per week of weight loss. And like some people, it might be a little bit less than that. Like definitely weigh yourself and like see how your body's responding to it for a week or two, and then if it's not responding, lower it a little bit. Like maybe start with 2000, and then like maybe lower it to 1950 or 1900, and then like you want to make sure that you're having like 170 to about 200 grams of protein per day. Maybe start with 100 grams. Like if you're just not used to having protein on a day-to-day basis, maybe just focus on having 100 grams of protein, then start to up it and start to strive for 170 to 210 grams a day so it doesn't feel super overwhelming of trying to just jam all this protein into your face. But asking it just questions like this, it can give you alternatives. It can tell you what your calories need to be for the week. Definitely highly recommend using that. So this is what it's called OpenAI or ChatGPT. ChatGPT. So if you just Google that, go to ChatGPT, totally free to use, and you can ask it literally any questions. I've helped clients with physio issues that they've gone to physiotherapists for, and this actually helped me fix their problem with like a shoulder impingement or like an issue that they were having with like their hips or their lower back, and gave them rehabilitation stuff that they could work with that actually helped solve the problem. So like if you just want to ask it questions to help remove the unknown and not being sure what to do, it'll actually give you accurate information. Oh, whoops, that is not the screen I wanted to share. Okay. Okay. So high satiety foods that you can go with. So no foods will make you lose fat, but some pack high satiety per calorie, which will help you keep staying full while sticking to a calorie deficit. Adding more of these foods help me stay on track while trying to lose fat. So lean proteins, chicken breast, chicken thighs, 96 4-gram beef, shrimp, egg whites, tuna, sirloin, fat-free Greek yogurt, pork tenderloin, and melons often have high volume per calorie. Like an entire pound of watermelon is 150 calories. And vegetables often high fiber, volume, lettuce, cucumber, celery, carrots, peppers. Like if you just have like, for example, you have like a whole bowl of like 96 4-gram beef with like some cauliflower rice, and you just add a bunch of like spinach or lettuce to it. I think it's like 25 calories for 2 cups of spinach, which is gonna fill you up a ton, and you're gonna get way more bites out of it. And like berries, often high in fiber and volume. Like I said, like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries. By adding in more of these foods, you'll find that you'll be able to have way more volume while losing weight at the same time. And you need to have consistent systems to be able to follow these things on a consistent basis. Because we don't We typically have food that is not super great for us because it's more convenient. If we can make the healthier food more convenient and we put the energy and the time into getting it ready, the likelihood of you following it goes up significantly, which is why meal prepping is so, so important. So coming down into here, so meal prepping ahead of time and planning ahead of time with your nutrition within a food tracking app. So if you actually want to know if you're going to hit your targets instead of just kind of going to the store aimlessly buying stuff, you can go into like Eat This Much or MyFitnessPal and actually go and track these foods a day ahead of time. Like today is Wednesday. You could also go plug it in for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Eat This Much would actually give you a grocery list. It'll tell you exactly what you need to get for the week, and it'll tell you how many calories, how much protein that it has. So that way you don't even need to have it just eliminates the guesswork. And you know exactly what you need to get from the grocery store. So you're not just window shopping, buying a bunch of random shit that you don't need. And also sneak in like a tiny, like sweet or salty treat within like 100 to 200 calories daily if you want. Like, don't tell yourself that you can't have anything. Like, don't just remove a bunch of restriction and follow only the high satiety options and the high protein options. Have a cookie, have a little bit of chips, have the stuff that you want to have. Absolutely, like, firstly, go for alternatives because they're going to taste 90% as good, but they're going to be a lot more friendly with your weight loss goals. But definitely feel free like to have a little bit of chocolate or like whatever it is that you want to have because like that's going to help you feel like you have a little bit more control over your diet and not even diet, your lifestyle and like the nutrition that you're putting into your mouth so that way you can still enjoy yourself a little bit but also still be able to stay on track at the same time. And I'd say like when you're prepping your food, like prep 1 to 2 proteins and minimalistic recipes to keep it simple and actionable. The more complicated these recipes are that take a whole bunch of time, that are like homemade and like have all these different ingredients, and it makes it more difficult to track it as well. The likelihood of you doing those on a consistent basis isn't going to be super high. Like I would recommend, like what I would do is I would try and like you could even use ChatGPT where it's like, hey, these are the foods that I like to have, or like what are some foods that I can pick that are going to be a lot more doable and simplified to make it so I can prep them with less time and bandwidth. Like I typically have like protein ice cream. I have like Greek yogurt with some berries, like frozen berries and like the Greek yogurt. They just sit in the fridge in the freezer and I can just throw them together. And I have like Splenda that I'll put onto it to make it sweeter and like mix it together and have some protein powder with it. I have beef jerky readily available. I go and have like I'll have like veggies that are like cut up and like prepped and like in containers. Same with fruit, like ready to go. And then I also like cook like a bunch of moose because like that's if you have wild game and you have access to like moose or bison and like caribou, those are very lean meats. Or just like get 96 4 gram beef, like that's also a great option. I personally not a huge fan of chicken, but it's a great option for those of you that do like chicken. But just like prepping like 1 or 2 of those, and then you can have like taco shells, or you have like some like low calorie noodles or something like that that you can mix with like a bag of spinach or something like that, and just like put it all together. And because the meat's already cooked and ready to go, that took you like 30 minutes to cook the entire thing for like 5 days. Then all these other things are mostly ready to go, and maybe you just have to make the noodles that take like 5 minutes. Like the more simplified that it can be, the more actionable that it's going to be, and the more likely that you're going to follow through with it. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And hidden calories. So coming back into this, just to give you guys like a little bit of a visual, why do we weigh food? So 1 tablespoon of peanut butter is 262 calories if it's just a heaping tablespoon, or if you weigh it out, it's actually 119 calories. Or just a dash of oil could be 190 calories, or if you put an actual dash of oil, 96 calories. A handful of almonds could be 152 calories, or actually 87 calories if you're actually weighing it. And like remember, like I mentioned, 300 to 500 calories below maintenance to lose a healthy amount of body fat per week. So if you just don't weigh your food, you're gonna plateau. Like especially if you don't track your food and you don't know the right portions, it's gonna be really difficult to be able to lose weight. And when you track food, it's going to promote awareness. It's going to allow you to control your eating habits, gives you a good idea of calories in versus calories out, and it creates certainty and confidence. And it might take a little while to recognize those habits, but the more reps that you put in, the more likelihood that you're going to like, it's just a matter of time. It's just like any skill. It just takes time and repetition. And it can become obsessive. So just make sure you're promoting balance. Like you're still having cookies, you're still enjoying yourself here and there, and having like the 80-20 of like following 80% whole food, healthy foods, and then have 20% of like the goodies and the stuff that you want to have. And this is only a general guideline, like room for error. Like again, like have flexibility, don't be super rigid about it, and it requires you to make an effort. It's not a bad thing. Because if you put more focus into it, you're gonna put more energy into it. And when you put more focus into it, and you're actually putting, so what gets measured gets managed. If you're measuring it and you're tracking it, you're gonna manage it a lot better. And this comes back to just like weighing it again, like weighing it and like how much of a difference there would be with like avocado or like almond butter. And for drinks, like one glass of orange, like a small glass of orange juice, 110 calories, a 400 calorie medium mocha, 280 calories for a soda. And like all of these drinks together is a 1,370 calories, which for a lot of you is more than half your calories for the whole day, and you're in a calorie deficit, but you're not losing weight, what you actually tracked within the app versus what you actually ate. And you just add like a little bit of sugar that you didn't really pay attention to. You didn't really weigh out the almonds, so they ended up being like another like 14 grams of almonds, which ended up adding an additional 85 calories, or like an extra tablespoon of mayo that you didn't actually pay attention to and you didn't track it within the app. Like condiments and like the sugary drinks are gonna like they throw a lot of people off. And like the difference could be 1480 or 1905. And like I mentioned, 300 to 500 calorie difference. That's the reason that this person is plateauing. If you're going to track, make sure you're tracking everything. Hidden calories and incorrect portion sizes throughout the day can add up and take you out of a calorie deficit. And these are like different sauces that have a bunch of different calories. I would look up alternatives like G. Hughes sugar-free sauces. Those are my go-to. Like any local supplement store you should have access to those. If you live in Whitehorse, Reflex Supplements has those. And condiments and sauces. So again, salad dressings, even a small amount can be calorically dense, especially creamy dressings, ketchup and mayonnaise. These can add significant calories, particularly in larger portions. Barbecue sauce and marinades, often loaded with sugars and fats. Or if you get the G. Hughes sugar-free sauce, an entire container is 90 calories for a whole container. And you can add almost as much as you want to the dishes that you're having. Alcohol, like beer, wine, cocktails, can be surprisingly high in calories. Like one shot of vodka is 100 calories. So you have 3 shots of vodka, that's 300 calories. And creamers, flavored syrup, sugar in your coffee, it can add up. Nuts and seeds, they're actually healthy and they're very high in or micronutrients, but the thing is they're very calorically dense, so they're gonna have a bunch of calories. Same with like avocado, like they're really good for you, but they have a lot of calories, so it's gonna make it difficult to stay within your calories and stay full and satiated. And like granola bars, often marketed as healthy, but are very high in sugar and fats. Same with dry fruits. Oils and butters, cooking sprays, gravies and broths, restaurant meals. If you're tracking a restaurant meal, I would almost add 30% more calories to it because they add extra butter, oil, and sugar to like make the flavor better. And typically they'll give you larger sizes than what it actually is. So it's just going to be a higher portion, also with added sugar and butter and oil. So that's typically why I say make food at home for the most part. So you know exactly what you're putting into your mouth instead of kind of just guessing and like hoping things are going to work out. Also, it's less expensive. Again, avocado, smoothies, protein bars, and shakes can be caloric bombs if not chosen wisely. There are definitely some really good protein bars, like Quest bars are great, but there's also a lot of them that have a ton of calories and aren't super macro friendly. And focus on activity, not just eating less food. Like if you focus on strength training, like building muscle, that's what's going to cause you to not have those bat wings and like have things tight and loose in all the right places instead of having like loose skin when you lose a bunch of body fat, because you're also losing muscle at the same time. So if you're actually building more muscle, there's actually a bunch of scientific studies that have been done. There's the biggest reason for obesity and people holding on to additional body fat is a lack of skeletal muscle. So when you start to put on more muscle, your body starts to change up composition where you're losing fat and gaining muscle. It also boosts your metabolism so you burn more calories. Like that's actually why I tell people to like focus on walking, like getting 10K steps a day in. You burn 3,500 additional calories by the end of the week, which equates to 1 pound of body fat. Or just getting like if you're just not really walking, start having 3K steps a day or 5K steps a day and just incrementally add the amount of steps that you're getting. And that's going to help with you just being able to lose more body fat. Walk around your house while you're on a phone call, like anything like that, like just taking the stairs instead of the elevator, parking a little bit further from the grocery store to get some extra steps in. That stuff can actually make a really big difference, and just focusing on just getting yourself moving, walking during your lunch break. And then doing strength training where you're actually building muscle and but make sure you're bringing the right level of intensity. Like you could do some bicep curls and you could just burn calories, not actually stimulate muscle growth. Whereas you need to bring the level of intensity where your muscles are almost giving out. Like you're actually training and like actually pushing yourself. And no, you're not going to turn into the She-Hulk and get super jacked and like blow the heck up like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I wish that's the case because I would be super jacked at this point. And I've been trying to get super jacked for like 8 years. And I also have testosterone. Like you're just going to look more toned and more defined. It's going to help with your definite, like it's going to help with your metabolism. You're going to have more functional strength. And because you have more skeletal muscle, your body just burns more body fat just more efficiently because you have more muscle on your body. I can also send you over some like at-home workouts that you can do that take only 20 minutes. Uh if you just put workouts in the comments, I can just shoot you a message. I can send you over some at-home or gym workouts or body weight workouts, or like minimal equipment workouts, depending on what your situation is. And again, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Like if you're just kind of like planning to do a workout sometime tomorrow, instead of like, I'm gonna do it first thing in the morning, I'm gonna get my workout stuff ready the night before so I can hop into my workout tomorrow morning. And like making sure you have like your alarm clock across the room to force you to get out of bed if you're pressing snooze all the time. Or like if you're gonna work out after work, do it as soon as you get off work. Because as soon as you go and relax and you sit on the couch, you're just gonna be paralyzed and like it's gonna be tough to peel yourself off the couch. So do it as soon as you get home, right after you get home from work. And if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not moving forwards, you're moving backwards. So, like, focusing on your goal, why you're doing this in the first place. Like, I highly recommend to all my clients what we call our successful morning routine, where it's called seek water, seek sunlight, seek activity, and reviewing your goals. So, every single morning, like, making sure you're getting some sunlight, get some water in there, making sure you're getting a little bit active, doing some yoga or doing a workout. Like, I highly recommend doing a workout. It's going to be a lot more consistent if you get it done in the morning statistically. Like, it absolutely works for some people later in the day, but I find getting it done in the morning, it sets the tone for the day. You get it out of the way, and then you're able to get it done a lot quicker because nobody really requires your attention as much, especially if you have like kids or you have a family or you have work and you have other stuff that comes up throughout the day. So seek water, seek sunlight. So like if you can get some sunlight, if you live in the darkness like I do, maybe just getting some vitamin D and getting some fresh air, like that would be great. And then reviewing your goals, like the goals that you're excited about, like how much you're gonna impact your family and your kids, and how confident, how good you're gonna feel. Maybe you're wearing that two-piece in Mexico and like strutting your stuff and feeling really good about yourself. Maybe it's like, for me, I struggled with depression for years and like honestly didn't even like myself, and I got to such a dark place. Being able to fuel myself and feel good about myself and not go back to that dark place, and just being able to feel happy and feel confident, that's what forced me to show up on the days that I didn't want to. Because again, all these things, they can get you results, but knowledge isn't power, applied knowledge is power. So if you don't have a way to have the right mindset and focusing on just baby steps over no steps, focusing on just, instead of doing no workout, do a 10-minute workout. And like if you can't track your food, just track your protein. Or focus on just the mindful steps that I mentioned of just like having some fiber, having some protein and some water before you eat anything else, and wait like 15 or 20 minutes. Or maybe it's just making sure your house doesn't have a bunch of like calorically dense processed foods, and you have more like protein readily available and you have more fruits and veggies. Like having a bit more water, making sure you're getting to sleep on time. Like focus on one step at a time and then move on to the next thing, then move on to the next thing. Like don't try and take everything that I just talked about in this training and apply all of it. Like take one or two takeaways and go implement it. Like maybe just tracking your food and tracking what you're putting into your mouth. That by itself for a week or two would make such a huge difference in you creating more awareness on what you're putting into your mouth. Consistency over perfection, progress over perfection. Like from the book of Atomic Habits by James Clear, if you're 1% better every single day, you're going to be 37 times better by the end of the year. And like if you just focus on your approach, how you're doing it, maybe you need to fast a little bit throughout the day. Maybe you need to eat more consistently with more protein during the day just so you feel more satisfied and you're not super ravenous when you get home from work. Maybe you need to fast so you feel like you have more food later and you feel like you can enjoy yourself a little bit more. Like these are all going to be different things of just putting the reps in every single day and just showing up. Even if it's not perfect, then you're going to start to learn more. You're going to start to build the skill up and build more momentum so you can start to dial it in a bit more. And don't be a 57 percenter. This is a big one. So like if you're crushing everything Monday to Friday and you're doing super well with everything, and then you're like, oh, I've been crushing it all week. I don't need to work out this weekend. Or I can go out for some drinks and with some friends and stuff like that and go eat whatever I want to have at the restaurant. And like you do that on like Friday night after a long week. And like Saturday, you sleep in, you don't really have anything prepped or planned, so you just have some convenient stuff out of the cupboard, or like you just follow, like you just go with the flow and you just like go out for some food or some more drinks with friends. And like before you know it, you're like on Sunday scrambling, trying to get your shit together to get back on track for Monday. Before you know it, Friday, Saturday, Sunday was just thrown off the rails, where you can follow everything perfectly Monday to Thursday, but if you're just falling off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you have like nothing planned or prepped, you don't know where you're going out to eat, so you can pick the right options at the right restaurants, or like you're following at least 80% during the weekend, that's where a lot of people and their dreams go to die. Because they're putting all this work in, then it all goes to waste on the weekend and they just plateau and they don't see anything. Just because you have days off from work doesn't mean you have days off from your health. Like even just 80-20, prepping a little bit more, focusing on your protein. Maybe you fast a little bit more on the weekend because like you're a little bit more bored and like you have less distractions, so you just fast. Where you're like, I'm not going to eat from this time till this time, and you're going to know that you're going to be hungry. And you're like, I'm going to push past this hunger. You know what the way that I like to look at it as is if I can stop myself from putting food into my mouth, it's going to create impulse control and it's going to develop discipline. Because discipline, you're sacrificing what you want now for what you want later. So I'm sacrificing that food or that craving that I want right now. I'm going to have a diet soda or some water or some gum or something like that. And then I get to have what I want later and feel more satisfied and feel better. And I get to help my future self be able to enjoy himself a little bit more. That's also like with meal prepping. You don't necessarily want to go prep for 30 or 45 minutes, but it's going to make your whole week so much easier and you're going to be closer to your goals. So keeping these mindsets in place are going to make such a huge difference. And again, baby steps over no steps. 10-minute workout instead of no workout, tracking your food a little, like just tracking what you are eating, even if you're not hitting your calories, prioritizing protein. If you haven't been prioritizing protein, maybe getting 5K steps a day in when you normally don't even get steps in, or getting to bed on time because you normally don't get enough sleep. Like these are all going to be baby steps that are going to make a huge difference. And if you've seen some of the testimonials on this page, you know that the transformation that you're looking for really is possible. People who are exactly where you're sitting at have broken through and gotten results. Like this is Melissa, who lost 25 pounds in 4 months, has kept it off, continued to lose weight afterwards, and now she's going to the gym consistently. And she's been had a sustainable lifestyle change for like the last 2 years. And we got Rosie here, who also has a whole household full of kids, runs a business, and she was able to do this and like work out for like 20 or 30 minutes and prioritize herself where she's showing up stronger as a mom. She's showing up stronger for her business. And she followed all the strategies that I just showed you. And I told you at the beginning of the call that if you needed more help, I would show you what to do. You don't need me. You have the option to take what you just learned and you've seen the system, you've got the information now, and you can apply it yourself or you can go faster. And here's how to go faster. And I want to help you go faster. I've set a time aside this week and a little bit next week with myself on my calendar, and we would love to offer you a free strategy session. So here's what we're going to be doing on our call. We're going to set goals for the next 4 to 6 months so you're clear on where you want to go. Ask yourself right now, like, where do you want to be 6 months from now? Like, if you've just been living day to day hoping it's all going to work out, it's not going to. Imperfect action is the name of the game. Uncover the roadblocks that are getting in the way of you unleashing the best, most confident self so you can get clear on exactly what you need to do to achieve your goals. Plus, we'll set up a 16-week roadmap for implementing the Hansen Health weight loss blueprint that I just showed you and helping you implement it into your lifestyle so that way you can see yourself doing it in a sustainable way. And I've got so much time on my calendar, so if this is something you think that could help you, or I've only got so much time on my calendar, sorry. So sign up now if you want to be able to get one of the limited spots and comment me in the comments and I'll send you a link to book a strategy session with me. I hope you guys like this. So packed with value, so much stuff that you can implement that's going to make a massive difference. And remember, applied knowledge is power, knowledge isn't power. So take some imperfect action, take that first step, schedule some time in your schedule, set a reminder, go outside for a walk. Like, don't wait until you feel like doing it later. And remember why you want this and why this is going to make such a big impact in your life. And if you want to book a strategy session, just comment in the comments, and I'd love to hop on a strategy call with you. And I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day. Let's freaking crush some goals, guys.